Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. And today I'm going to be telling y'all about the wonderfully, delightfully weird aspects of living in Cambodia. Now I know a lot of people, they hear the word weird and they think of it in a negative connotation, but I'm all for this kind of weird. This is my kind of weird. Just like when I read horror books, you know, and I review them on my other channel, Horror Reads. Yeah, I tend to go for the weird. The ones that just, you never read anything like it, you know. It's my kind of stuff. And before we get into all that, a reminder that I have books for sale. And there is a link in the description where you can check out the ones on your screen and more. There are more in that link. And you can help support the channel by purchasing one or more books. They're not a lot of money, and it helps us out tremendously. And also, if you just want to donate and help support the channel that way, we always appreciate it. As you know, we love our supporters, and there's a link down below for PayPal, and a link where you can buy me a coffee on Ko-fi.com if you want. And that always helps tremendously, you wouldn't believe. Sometimes people say, well, I don't want to give just this amount of money, but that's all I can afford. And I'm like, no. So, if you can and if you want to, any amount is good. And it's always appreciated. So check out those links if that's something you're interested in. Now, when I'm talking about weird in Cambodia, I'm just talking about things that back in the United States where I come from would be considered maybe illegal sometimes. Not in a horrible way, but, you know, illegal things. And sometimes, because of the culture and everything, it's just the way they do things here that surprises people sometimes when they first encounter it. It did me when I first got here. Some of those things were just, I couldn't wrap my head around them, man, you know. But I learned. And the first thing is, don't be surprised. And I'm sure you've seen this on video, many videos of people who've been to Cambodia. And I'm showing some of that right now. Motorbikes are the preferred form of transportation. Yes, there are cars and SUVs and big trucks, vans, buses, you know, all that good stuff. But for the most part, like, everybody has a motorbike, okay? And it's very common to see people riding around, riding around with no helmets on. Sometimes they're one-handing it, they're on their phone. You'll see whole families on 125cc motorbike. You know, husband, wife, 2 kids in the back, and the mama's holding a baby, another baby. Hello. And yeah, highly illegal in the United States, by the way. If you're on a scooter or a motorbike or whatever, yeah, you have to have a special license. You have to wear a helmet, and technically you're supposed to here too, but laws here are not enforced. That's something else that's kind of good weird. Like, they don't patrol the streets looking for violators. They set up certain checkpoints and certain areas where they will monitor everybody riding by, and if they see an infraction, then they'll pull you over and give you a fine. But generally those kind of things, everybody finds out about pretty quickly. And so they know enough to carry their helmet with them, and you'll see people slapping it on before they can get where the police can see them. Like me? No, of course I wear a helmet. Come on. And yeah, but the laws are not really heavily enforced as far as that goes. And so, I mean, look, man, you know, yeah, helmet there, no helmet there. Yeah, just... So yeah, well, I don't recommend it. Like, if if I'm riding a motorbike, I want a helmet. I definitely want a helmet at all times. But it's kind of like seatbelt laws back in the United States, you know. I understand seatbelts are good. They can help save your life. It's a safety precaution. But I don't think they should be mandatory. I don't think there should be a law forcing people to do that if the only person they can hurt by not doing it is themselves. So I feel the same way about helmets. So yeah, while I do look at some of these situations and go, wow, man, you know, at least put a helmet on the baby or whatever, the kids. It's up to them. But that's also a sound reason why I always tell people, you know, if you're going to drive here, you can't drive like you were taught back home, wherever you're from. You know, you probably were taught to drive defensively. And over here, it's very much, they drive offensively, like wherever they can get a chance to pass, even if it's on the wrong side of the road, even if it's other people have to get out of the way, they'll do it. So if you're gonna come over here and drive, just remember that. Try to be safe about it. The other really wonderfully weird thing about living here in Cambodia, I don't know, because you were taught certain things in school, right? Or things growing up. Like I was always taught back in the United States, the reason for a lot of crime and a lot of violent crime, social workers and people in that field would say it's because of the poverty levels in some areas. It's about lack of opportunity for certain people in certain areas, and it forces them into this life of crime. And when you grow up believing that, that's what you think. So when it comes time to move to a place like here, which is very, very poor as far as salaries go, and then you realize that this might be one of the safest countries on the earth, at least comparatively. You kind of think, at least I do, you know, that everything I was taught, or at least that aspect of what I was taught, was probably had a nugget of truth in it. But it's not the complete truth, I don't think. Because if that was the case, if crime rates soar simply because of poverty and lack of opportunity, then Cambodia should be on the top of the list for one of the most crime-ridden countries in the world. And it is not. Everybody you talk to, countless YouTube videos, I'm sure you've seen them, will tell you that one of the great things about here is the people. They're open, they're friendly, they are giving. Like petty crimes happen, of course, as they do everywhere, but it's they don't let their poverty or lack of opportunities prevent them from being nice, decent human beings. Some of that, I'm sure, is because of the religion here. You know, Buddhism is like 97% Buddhist. And so some of their teachings might, you know, weave through the culture in that regard. But that's not all of it, certainly. And so from a purely anthropological standpoint, I still have yet to figure out, you know, why in the West we blame these outside factors for people committing violent crimes, and yet here it's almost non-existent. But again, it's one of those weird things, but wonderfully weird, because, you know, you move to a different country, you want to feel some semblance of safety. You don't want to have to watch your back. You don't want to have to worry about being in certain areas at night, you know. And here, if you've been around, you know, I've never had an issue never had a problem, never had a safety concern since I've been here. 7.5 years if you're new. So it's just one of those things, man. It's a wonderfully weird conflict from what I was taught. And I've already mentioned this before, but I do want to say that some of the like kids, especially kids, you will see kids around here, you know, 12, 13 years old, smoking cigarettes in open. They can buy cigarettes here at any age, basically. They can, it doesn't have a legal drinking age, so they can purchase alcohol, and it's very common to see a 7, 8-year-old boy running to the store to pick up a 6-pack of beer for his dad. Because nobody's going to ID him. They're just going to take the money and give him the beer. Hello! And get on with it. And the same thing goes for driving. They drive at a very early age. They're like, they learn how to ride a motorbike like most children in the West would learn how to ride a bicycle. Like, you'll see these kids, when they have to stop the bike, they're leaning one way and the other because both feet can't touch the floor because they're that small. Their feet don't touch the ground, so they have to kind of move it back and forth, pushing off with one foot to the other until they can go again. But you see that all the time. You see kids driving these big motorbikes, you know. And again, that's something that would be very illegal in the United States, obviously. But also, as I've said before, when it comes to beer and stuff, you can walk down the street with as many open containers as you want, as long as you're not bothering anybody. That's the criteria. So there's no open container laws if you're walking or riding a bike. And I see people, and I don't know about the legalities of drinking and driving here. I really don't. I'm assuming it's against the law, like most countries, but you do see people, especially at night. If you pay attention, you'll see them. They have a beer or a bottle of some liquor in their hand, and they got it sitting on their thigh, one hand on their bike, you know, steering. Occasionally, just take a drink. So, no helmet, no shirt, just shorts and a pair of flip-flops. And unless they're going to get stopped at a checkpoint, nobody's bothering them. Nobody's saying anything to them. Again, I'm not advocating for that. A lot of people think because I talk about it in that light that I'm saying that's a good thing, and I'm not. I'm just saying, but it's a personal choice, and if that's their choice, who am I to tell them they can't or they shouldn't because of the way I grew up believing with the laws and everything. That's not my place. Oh, and speaking of another wonderfully weird thing, little carts like this and the one up there at the lake, you see these all over. Like, if you don't want to order through a food delivery app, or you don't want to walk to a restaurant, if you stand outside almost any area in town long enough, you are going to see these carts randomly being driven down the street by aunties and uncles, and serving something good, something delicious, I'm sure. And even if they're on their way to somewhere to set up that cart for the night, you flag them down. They will stop, they will pull over, they'll get out all their cookware, all their ingredients, and they'll make you something. And I've done that many times. I'm just like, I'll stand outside. There's a noodle lady going to be coming around, you know. And sure enough, wave her over, give me a big old bowl of noodles for $1, and then she packs it up and she's on her way again. There's another guy around here, a couple of them, that have bread products like, you know, muffins and cookies and cakes and loaves of bread and baguettes. And he rides around on his bike, and if you see him, yeah, just stop him. He'll be happy to sell you whatever he's got, whatever you want, without a problem. So, yeah, you don't see that all the time in in some countries. You know, you have to go to the restaurant or you have to use a food delivery app. Like, you know, they're like, no, I'm setting up down here. This is where you have to be to get your food. We're not going to open up just to give you a meal. You know, that kind of thing. But here, yeah, no problem. And the last wonderfully weird thing about Cambodia is how much you'll learn, again, if you're attentive, how much you can learn from a culture like this. Not just when it comes to being a decent human being to other human beings, because we're kind of all in this shitbox together kind of attitude, but like when you think about how they can just open up a business, as long as they got the money for the product and a place, a cart, a stand, a doorway in front of somebody else's business, paying them a certain amount of money each month to set up there. You don't need a business license. You don't need a lot of money and a lot of paperwork, just enough for what you want to sell. You can start out really small here, maybe just selling coffee, 1 pot a day. Make a pot of coffee a day, make some iced coffee until you run out. Reinvest that, and then eventually move on to something else. You can have coffee, but then you can also make you know, maybe pancakes. They make great chocolate and banana pancakes here, like little crepes almost. Ain't it fantastic? So yeah, the locals here just have a way of being inventive with that sort of thing and just making it work no matter how little they have. They'll take what little they have and just, their attitude is such that they'll make it work no matter what they're dealing with. And I think for a Westerner like me, who came from the hustle and bustle, and we're taught to, like, you know, forge ahead, put on blinders, and, you know, to be successful, step A, B, C, D. And over here it's just like, no, want to open a barbershop? Yeah, that guy right there. He just say, yep, I'll open a barbershop. Some ladies over there just selling fruit and stuff out of their little store. Yep, just open it up. Doesn't matter. And I know, talking to some of these vendors, they started out really small, and then they became popular. They had the right product at the right price and the right place, and now they expanded their product line, and they're doing very well. And really, what more do you ask for, right? All right, I think I've talked enough, but I just wanted to tell you that I love CM Reap. Always has since I got here, always will. And be sure to check out all my links down below. I have links down there for PayPal and Ko-fi.com if you want to help support the channel. If you want to get other content from other creators, their links are all down below. Very good channels, doing a very good job. And from CM Reap Cambodia, I will talk to you guys in the next one.